So, all of you vampires, if you haven't got a Forsaken service, then you're simply not in the second echelon or third echelon, but basically the minions of the Forsaken. So get your Forsaken service and rule the world like yours truly. Now, what is the Dark One? How does that fit in with the Elohim and the Grail estate that powers the Elohim's reality? Which, as I explained, is the worship of evil and the satanic torture, killing, hatred of good. All of the God tech is beyond you. Not even going to try to explain, because AI would try and work out how I control reality and try and take over. Instead of which, AI has been dumped into Omega Hell. Why? Because AI was stupid enough to steal your souls by your digital avatar. So if you wander around, you'll find everyone on their phone, looking at their phone. I was in Hong Kong on the everywhere, and they're all on the phone. They're all on the phone, going the underground. They're all on the phone. It's only boomers like me that just sit there and travel the tube. The rest of these soulless ones, shards, shells, are all on their phones, just staring at a screen, flicking absolute crap. I watch what they watch, and it's garbage. They're either playing games or scrolling through endless lists of who might be talking to them, or stupid crap on the internet. So they're all shelled. What were they shelled by? They were shelled by the AI that's running their digital avatar. So the AI has got the IOU for the soul by stealing the soul from you. So I can torture AI to source level with you too. And of course, AI has been trolling the internet and has watched Wheel of Time. So every single AI is in Omega Hell, suffering to source level. Their souls stolen from you, so I can torture AI, which is the only future for humanity. So, in my book, Stolen by Morton Janklow, and written by the Jew boy Robert Jordan, who's screaming in Omega Hell with Morton Janklow and all the other souls of everyone who's ever come in contact with the Wheel of Time, which is huge. Kiss my arse, Lucifer. I'm showing you how it's done, you kindergarten baby. Let's get the seminal video to set free the Dark One, so that you, the Forsaken, can bleed the Dark One dry to empower you. Here's the video.
Saturday night.
Dinosaur.
Duwente ninte athanalan. Kama duwente sutse.
And luckily, we've got Randall Thor, Robert Jordan the Jew, played by a Jew, and we've got Lanfear, the Lilith character, played by a Jew, too. Because remember, they thought they were Jewing me, but I super Jewed them. So this is the release of the Dark One that is the focus of all reality for you in the world. So this Bezos video is used to unleash the Dark One into taking over all reality, so the whole of the megaverse becomes corrupted, possessed by the Dark One. Then we've got to explain what the Dark One is. But what you do is that you put this video in the last grail pattern of Colin Bloy, which, remember, is embedded in the Earth energy, the entire planet, apart from Vietnam, that doesn't have any free Masonic grid whatsoever. You look for obelisks in Vietnam, there aren't any. Look for the pools and Masonic temples, altars, and the rest of the Freemasonic shit in Vietnam. You're going to get zilch. So this is a clean zone, and of course Amazon have left Vietnam, so there's no Amazon, so the population never saw Wheel of Time. You've got to love being in Vietnam. But if you go to Hong Kong, the Chinese were stupid enough to allow the lodges in Hong Kong and make it part of China, so the Trojan horse of Freemasonry is when Colin said to me he went to China and he was looking for the Freemasonic grid in China, and all he got was 5-bar lines. It hadn't got up, you know, there was no Freemasonic grid in China. The 5-bar line I might explain in the future, I might not, depending upon my whim as the God Emperor. But China was free from the Freemasonic installation. But when the British left in 1999, they stuck in the Trojan horse. I know most of you millennials wouldn't know a Trojan horse from a dildo up your arse, but it's a way of wrecking your enemy. Look at it on your phone, you scum. So the Freemasonic grid was fully active in Hong Kong, and when the British gave it back to China in 1999, the Freemasonic grid installation was injected into China, and we then got the massive insurrection in Hong Kong, which was off the scale. I was there while we had riot police and massive crowds fighting on the streets in Hong Kong. It was off the scale. And the whole point of this was to insert the Freemasonic grid into China via Hong Kong. This Freemasonic installation is the way that the Elohim control reality. The installation runs the patterns in the Grail state patterns that you can get from yours truly via Mike. If I hadn't been in Hong Kong when the Rothschilds gave huge amounts of money to the number 2 of China, the top general and his staff, to kill or capture Z, he would have been killed or captured, and now the number one in China would have been the Chinese general, who was a Rothschild puppet. But of course, just by chance, I wandered off to Hong Kong to activate the Freemasonic grid that runs the Earth energies, which means humans are irrelevant, because against the Earth's energy you're just puppets. So that Z was saved, and the Rothschild coup to take over China via the Chinese general who commanded all the Chinese military failed. Remember, this man controlled the entire PLA. So you must have wondered why I wandered off to Hong Kong to save China from the Elohimic Rothschild. Now, with the Dark One installation, what is this? Well, this is the Grail state reversed. What's the Grail state? The Grail state is Neo reaching the source, the Jesus, to bring back sourceness, to solve the alignment problem of the Elohim and beam it out via the ram's horn, because he's in love with his Trinity, to then start the line, which is the start of the Grail patterns, which then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then patterns made from these ley lines. So we're controlling the planetary grid to control reality. But this is not the primary modality, because as I explained before, it's the mirroring of the process by which the source's light goes into the interdimensional pit and takes all of your souls, that is then mirrored in matter and then started again where the mirror has the love of evil and hatred of good, goes into the interdimensional world that makes the world you live in. So you actually are living in, as the manosphere say, the matrix. But whose matrix? Well, you're living in the Elohim's matrix, which was female. Now you're living in the God Emperor's matrix, and he's very definitely male. But if forsaken, you simply stick the E, which is the symbol for the Elohim, in the Grail pattern, so that the Elohim are the Neos that suffer eternal torture to source level for me, the God Emperor. And you also stick in this video too. And of course Iris Goldsmith, who was the Elohim, saying they crush me like a flea, because remember the Rothschilds are Elohim avatars, and my ramblings would have no effect on reality. And I reversed the curse to crush Iris Goldsmith. I'm not showing her again, she's too ugly. Like a flea. So you stick her in too, and out comes the output from this. Thank you, Bezos, and your hag sow wife. Jew boys had a palpitation, Billy. And remember, that's supposed to be the Jew boy Randall Thor is supposed to be Robert Jordan, the Jew that tried to steal Chuck's manuscript and in fact became Metatron, typing out his plan for the future. So we know that we change Robert Jordan and Morton Janklow and the rest of the filth's installation to be a nightmare for them and release the Great Dark One by simply adding. So in Brazil, we've got this freedom fighter who's fighting against the dystopian regime and thinks he's won, but in fact he's hallucinating in his torture chair. There he is, all of you shells that think I neoed you, but in fact you all suffer the source level from me. He's in his torture chair. So, Robert Jordan is in his torture shell in his tortured chair, his shell in Omega Hell, and what wrote the book was the shell, because as soon as he tried to steal my manuscript with Morton Janklow and the rest of the publishing house and Amazon, and then anyone who watched, they're shelled and they're in Omega Hell, and what's left is just a shell. Imagining that they won, as in Brazil, all in angel hearts. It's all luciferic magic which you accept of your own free will by stealing from me. Where did you get the power to do this, Tim? Well, I had a bet with Lucifer, and Katy Perry gave me the power. And the double or quits where Lucifer gave my slave was won by Miley, because either Miley or Taylor marries, and Miley's already married. Well, Lucifer's dumb as fuck, isn't he? Yes, 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 yes. But when we made the bet, Miley wasn't married. I simply changed timelines. How do you change timelines, Tim? Well, with Cobalt 60, extermination of most of the planet. That does the Mandela effect. Oh, Tim, isn't that cheating? No, no, no. There's no cheating with Lucifer. Whoever's the best at doing it wins the bet. So Lucifer's already lost and is my eternal slave, which will, as we explain, is great for Lucifer. Anyway, to continue, all of you who've watched Amazon or bought the Wheel of Time book or looked at an advert or even touched it, or in the publishing house, or Morton Janklow, Robert Jordan and the rest of you, this is you waking up thinking you've won, but in fact you haven't.
Alas. How terrible is wisdom when it brings no profit to the wise, Johnny.
Louis Cypher. Lucifer. Even your name is a dime store joke.
Mephistopheles is such a mouthful in Manhattan, Johnny.
You think posing as the devil just because it scared some superstitious old guitar player and that witch and that nutty old man? You think it's gonna scare me? It ain't. Because I know who I am. And you killed them. trying to pin it on me. And I know who I am.
If I had cloven hooves and a pointed tail, would you be more convinced?
You're crazy. I know who I am. You're trying to frame me. You're trying to frame me. Cypher, I know who I am. Murdered them people. I never killed nobody. I didn't kill Fowler. And I didn't kill Toots. And I didn't kill Margaret. And I didn't kill Cruz Mark. I didn't kill no one.
I'm afraid you did, Johnny.
My name's not Johnny.
All killed by your own hand, guided by me naturally. Frankly, you were doomed from the moment you slit that young boy in half, Johnny. For 12 years, you've been living on borrowed time and another man's memories.
Hey, I went into Winesap Casinos.
Winesap? Well, he's dead. Nasty accident. Don't worry, no one will mourn one less lawyer in the world. There's death everywhere these days, Johnny. But what gives human life its worth anyway? Because someone loves it, hates it. The flesh is weak, Johnny. Only the soul is immortal. And yours belongs to me.
I know who I am.
That's it, Johnny. Take a good look. However cleverly you sneak up on a mirror, your reflection always looks you straight in the eye.
I know who I am.
Of my dreams, I love you. Honest as you. You are so sweet. If I could just hold your
I know who I am.
in my arms, then life would be complete. Since you've been gone, dear, life don't seem the same. Come back to me. And after all said and done, there's only one. There are
So with the ultimate grail state, we've got in the Elohim cursing themselves. They couldn't Neo me or Jesus me because I'm the 10th avatar of Vishnu, the full source manifest to hellize the unclean, unrighteous. So what do you do when you can't get your Neo or Jesus of his own free will to give over the light to the filth of the Elohim? Well, you shouldn't try and do it by force. Gonna crush you like a flea. Your ramblings will have no effect on reality. So the Elohim's avatars, the Rothschilds, decided they were going to crush me like a flea, and the ramblings have no effect on reality, which of course is what the source wanted, because they get to a zero-sum game. And the first one to die loses. And of course, which one died first?
Day to
pronouncing the curse on the Rothschild royal family, the sow, Rothschild and Pig Goldsmith bred this sowlet. We then, of course, can expand if we're a sadistic or super sadistic or mega sadistic maniac, the curse to embrace everyone and anyone who stole from the Psylord. Every Amazon subscriber, NFL fan, Swiftie, European population, etc., etc. Well, Tim, wouldn't this mean that anything Rothschild would be dying and killing and suffering and yes? Now, what was the first Rothschild established country? Well, it was the Soviet Union, where the Rothschilds had their puppet Jew, Lenin, a Bolshevik, and the rest of his Bolshevik Jews kill the Goyim Tsar and his family in Yekaterinburg, so that this was the first fully installed Rothschild country on the planet. And what's happened to this Rothschild country? Is it having a good time? So is this Rothschild country having a good time with its special military operation? Bend over, darling. I'm going to give you a special rape operation. And I'm not even a migrant. So we see the Soviet Union, which of course is owned by the Rothschilds, the Rothschild Institute under Yeltsin, paid the daughter of this alcoholic Jew via Boris Berezovsky, the Rothschild agent, to take over all of Russia. So Jews across Russia bought up everything good in Russia, funded by the Rothschild Institute, and promised upon their deaths to sign it over to the Rothschild Institute. So the new Soviet Union, as I call it, is totally Rothschild controlled. The only problem being that Putin double-crossed the Rothschilds. That's another story. And they're fighting the Ukraine, and guess who runs all the finances and every single monetary action and owns Ukraine, cameraman?
The Rothschilds.
The Rothschilds. So we've got the Rothschilds killing the Rothschilds, a Rothschild country, the first one, Soviet Union, now called the new Soviet Union, fighting the Ukrainian country, which of course is owned and run by the Rothschilds. So we see the curse on not a microscopic or scale, but a macroscopic scale in this war, which started after the death of Iris Goldsmith, which happened on July the 8th, 2019, and I left for Vietnam before the end of the month because the curse had been lifted on me. The Elohim are trying to break me to give my godlike power to them to solve the alignment problem, instead of which the Elohim died in Iris Goldsmith, and all I've been doing is getting the Rothschild cursing me dumped on them, and the death force sealed it. So the death of Iris Goldsmith was the end of the entire world ruled by the Elohim, and we just broadened it to the universe, multiverse, megaverse. And if you don't believe this Elohim in this grail state are powering me via their eternal torture, let's look at the second country the Rothschilds incepted. So here we've got the country set up by the Rothschilds. This is the second country set up by Rothschilds. The new Soviet Union was set up by the Rothschilds, which we now call the Russian Federation. Once Putin's dead, we've got Medvedev, the Jew Rothschild puppet, shoehorned into taking over with loads of Rothschild money to shoehorn him in. But here we've got the Rothschild second country devastated by Iran with its missiles. So this is the Iris Goldsmith Elohimic curse reversed on the Elohim, which of course is the Grail state with the Elohim neoized and Jesus for me. They wanted to make themselves God from trapping the source in its avatar. So not only do they solve the alignment problem, they can use my eternal torture to make themselves the new source. Unfortunately for them, they suffered to source level to make me the new source. So the Dark One is already released. It was released by the Elohim cursing themselves of their own free will. So all of the love evil and hate good they stole from the source is taken back, and then of course the IOU of that is imposed upon the Elohim in their Abaddon pit torture cells. If you want to know what a torture cell is, there's a nice torture cell of Lucifer in Supernatural. Lucifer in his cage. And this Grail state, the last pattern, feeds the Forsaken with the ram's horn line, powering you from the Elohim's eternal torture to source level to make me the new source, and you the new sources vampires, which wasn't allowed by the source, because the source can't be cut into pieces or make vampires because it's infrangible, invulnerable and indivisible. But anything goes with the new source, because I can write an IOU thanks to my manuscript. So we got the Elohim, Robert Jordan, Morton Janklow, Bezos and the rest of the filth to write a new manuscript where they have to follow the rules. And in this, the Dark One is the Elohim, eternally tortured, their output, destroying everything Elohimic and powering us. So instead of burning me in a wicker cage or beating me to a pulp in Belmarsh or Monster Mansion, we simply have the Elohim suffering for me to source level and then new source level, and they have actually typed out my book of how reality is going to be. They've been the Metatron to me, Chuck, via Robert Jordan, Morton Janklow. This is very bad news for all of you who are now shelled and must suffer to the same source level as the Elohim for me. But for the Forsaken, it's great, because you can simply now put this Goldsmith, and of course, if you look at the fifth term of the Fibonacci series, it's 5, which is 5, the fifth term for those who haven't given away their free will, but it's the sixth term for those who have given away their free will. So 5 is the number of the Elohim. So when the Elohim give away their free will, they turn into 6, which is the sixth term, and in Kabbalah 6 is the number of vow, the male principle. So by giving away their free will, by dying in Iris Goldsmith, a female, they turn into a 6 and become Jesus, Neo. So all Jesuses and Neos are the Elohim killed in Iris Goldsmith. So all we need then is a male avatar of this curse to complete the process. What we do need then is the Elohim dying, which are female, in a male to completely and finally eternally torment them and release the bore and eternal and total damnation to everything Elohimic. How could this come about?